It's the only reason I mentioned it. I don't like that, all right, that you get the weigh-in that far in advance.
This is a man who's cut a lot of weight and is a little upset, a little salty about it.
Yeah, a little out of line. They're a little out of line themselves.
Yeah, you offend him a little bit there.
You insulted him. You insulted him a little bit. Welcome into the Big Fight Breakdown here on ProBox TV. Download the ProBox TV app. Never fall behind in your boxing news. Well, it's a weird combination. It's a Latin fight night, but it's in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and it features some outstanding fighters, including a unifying fight in the champion division in the Cruiserweight division, right? That's often overlooked. To help me break it down, Jimmy Smith into it with the champs, Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi. Joining us via Zoom is the Desert Storm himself, ESPN boxing analyst Timothy Bradley. So, Paulie, let me start with you. When it comes to the main event, the Cruiserweight division right now loaded with talent, but often overlooked. Could this unification bout, WBO champion taking on the WBA champion in Gilberto Ramirez versus Chris Billum Smith, will this bring eyeballs to a division that often doesn't get it?
I think it will. I think of late, I think the past 15 years of the Cruiserweight division has been a different Cruiserweight division than maybe the first 20 years of it. I think it reminds me a lot of the smaller weight classes in that the fighters, the top fighters, they will fight each other. You know what? You know what? I will have some meatloaf. Ma, where's the meatloaf? Guys, but the Cruiserweight division, nonetheless, we are going to buy in right now, and that's why we love it. You know, we're gonna buy into the Cruiserweight division the way we've been buying into it. You know, for the past 10, 15 years, you had the World Boxing Super Series. We had terrific cruiserweights fighting each other. Now you don't have a tournament, but these guys win titles, and they're saying, you know what? Let's get in there, man. Let's do it. Let's fight. And that's what these guys are doing right now. You got Opetaia, who's on the outside there as well, looking very, very dangerous. I don't think it's beyond a doubt that the winner of this fight, which is a great fight, then you start looking at Opetaia right away. Whereas in other weight classes, you get a fight like this, then you're like, all right, well, we'll have to see how popular the guy is, or we'll have to see how much he sells. No, bro. At this weight class, traditionally, it's been like the smaller weight classes where you're a champion, I'm a champion, you're a champion. Let's do it, bro. There's no time to waste. And fans actually get bang for their buck. They get the entertainment value, the way boxing is supposed to do when top fighters fight each other. And I think this fight makes me excited. And I honestly, like I said, I wouldn't doubt that the winner gets Opetaia.
All right, when you look at this wedding that we're crashing, you get that? That's right. What do you think of this main event? In terms of the technique, the breakdown, who do you think has the edge, Chris?
I really like Zerto at Cruiserweight. I think he was really hurting himself at 175. He's shown to be a different kind of fighter. He throws a ton of punches. He's a lefty. He's very durable. He's big. He's strong. I think he's better suited for the Cruiserweight division. Guys are a little slower. Guys are a little bigger. They're there for him to let those hands go, throw those combinations. But Chris Billum Smith, man, is no joke. This is a tough fight. This is a real, true unification fight with two of the best guys in the division. Opetaia being the other guy on the outside looking in for this fight. But this is there's a lot going into the winner for this fight. Whoever wins this fight has big opportunities. And it's not like it used to be, champ. You made a great point about the Cruiserweight division. It used to be like, all right, you went to a Cruiserweight title, you're just looking for a time to go heavyweight. Money, right. It's heavyweight time. You don't see that now, these guys. These guys are hanging out here. And I think part of that has to do with the size. Right? The current crop of heavyweights are humongous.
But you also get 10 pounds more in the Cruiserweight division, so it's a little bit more.
Made them a little bit bigger. They look more like old school heavyweights. Now we got super heavyweights. It's just a different. So guys, those tweeners. Listen, if you're 220, unless you're Usyk, you really can't compete with the super heavyweights. You have guys who are 270 or 260 who are athletic, who are long and tall. Now we have a true Cruiserweight division with talented guys, and as you said, Champ, they're fighting each other, which is great. That makes for great fanfare for the fight, for the fans.
Tim Bradley, I got to ask you, off what Chris said, a lot of the old school greats at heavyweight, when you look at their size and you look at their frame, Chris and I always talk off air. Chris is like, dude, now that guy's a Cruiserweight. Like that guy, Ali never goes to heavyweight division. He's just not big enough these days. What's your thought about that and how that affects this main event fight?
Look, both these guys are big, 6'2", 6'3". I mean, both of them are big. They just, again, a little bit lighter than heavyweight. I mean, Cruiserweight is under 200 pounds. This fight for me, it's just the puncher, the pressure guy / puncher versus the boxer who has more versatility in this game. I would say Zerto Ramirez, man. I watched him in his last outing. He still has his hand speed, decent hand speed, still has his quickness, agility. He's very slippery in there. He's a southpaw. He uses that inside these fights against these bigger guys, and it's too much for him, in my opinion. It's too much. This Sorry, guys. This particular fight style matchup, Billum Smith's gonna have to pressure. He's gonna have to, pin Zerto along the ropes. He's going to have to outwork him. That's his MO. He has good punching power. He likes to get close. He comes behind a good jab. Occasionally moves his head. He eats a lot of shots. That's his toughness. That's what he brings into the ring. And a lot of the guys, they can't keep up with his tempo. They can't keep up with the pace that he fights at. His stamina is through the roof. He's going to look and attempt to wear down Zerto Ramirez. Zerto's going to have to move all night. Again, use his angles, create counters for himself, use his jab. And, he should be able to win this match. No problem. No questions asked.
Chim, you just made a good point too with these guys being as big as they are for cruiserweights. Another thing that also keeps guys at cruiserweight and keeps guys in weight classes in general is the ability now. The official weigh-in's like what, a week before the fight? I mean, you can just dry out and then recover by the time the fight. So guys who maybe would have been forced to move up now realize, hey man, I got like 3,000 hours before the fight anyway, before the time I weigh in. So you know what? Let me just kill myself to make the weight. It's not like by the time I'm fighting, I'll be at this weight anyway. I'll be way up higher. So I think that's also another thing. You get the 10-pound cushion that you're able to get from 190 to 200 now. In general, all the weight classes enjoy now a weigh-in that is not just the day before, but at breakfast the day before. So you've got almost
30 hours.
You've got almost at least a day and a half full, maybe almost two full days. Before you actually fight. So I think that also helps guys look bigger at the weight classes that they're fighting these days, and including these cruiserweights.
Well, a weight class we have broken down. Check it out on our YouTube channel. 140 pounds, junior welterweight division, red hot right now. Of course, Teofimo Lopez. A lot of people consider him #1 in the division, but a very important fight on the same night. It is Jose Ramirez versus Arnold Barboza. Two Californians showing down here. Jose Ramirez came up short in his unification bout against Josh Taylor. Has a win since then against Francis Barthélemy. We know how tricky that guy can be, so that's a quality win. What do you think of these guys throwing down at 140 pounds? Paulie?
You know what? Before I start, I just want to let everybody know I don't condone that kind of stuff that I just said. I just mentioned it because I don't condone it. I don't condone that kind of stuff.
Don't condone it.
It's the only reason I mentioned it. I don't like that. All right, that you get the weigh-in that far in advance.
This is a man who's cut a lot of weight and is a little upset, a little salty about it.
Yeah, a little out of line. They're a little out of line themselves.
Yeah, you offended him a little bit there.
You insulted him. You insulted him a little bit.
So going with Barboza and Ramirez, I love this fight actually. I really like this fight because Ramirez has been a champion. He's been to the mountaintop. He's one time was the most impressive fighter at 140 pounds, if not the top 1 or 2. It was him and Josh Taylor until they fought each other. I really like this fight, and I don't think he's way past his prime as some guys might be. Ramirez maybe has fallen out of the conversation, but I still think there's a lot to give there as far as him fighting is concerned, and we're going to find out in this fight. Then on the other side, Barboza is sort of the opposite. He's been a guy that a lot of us have known within boxing. He's been impressive within boxing and hasn't quite been able to step into the title shot. And then last fight, was the last fight where he was less than impressive?
Yeah.
And where a lot of people
Sean
thought he lost.
McComb.
All of a sudden, you get, okay, we're going to finally start to get closer to crowning this guy. We've been waiting forever. He should have been in the mix already, but he was avoided. Okay, he's almost there. And then all of a sudden, he puts his dud up against McComb. So I think crossroads-wise, this fight makes a lot of sense. And I'm very, very curious about it. It could go in a lot of different directions. You're going to see which version of Ramirez you're going to get, which version of Barboza you're going to get. There's a lot of curiosity here. You're only going to find that on fight night. And honestly, don't ask me to predict the winner because I don't know. I mean, because like I said, which version are we going to get of these guys? But I really like the crossroads effect of this fight. A really good matchup and, great to be part of this card. Now, but for a very weird Latino night, mind you. They can't drink over there. Any good Latino party I've ever known.
It is a little strange. It's a little bit strange.
Just put it out there.
Just a little bit out there. Now, Tim, let me ask you, in a division that's this deep at 140 and you got to get some notice, you got some eyeballs on you, is there a lot of pressure on not just winning, but winning decisively? As Paulie just said, you can have a so-so performance in a win and people forget about you. What's your thought on that?
I mean, you always want to go out and look like impressive. You don't want to just go out there and just lay a dud, man. I mean, Barboza's coming in off of a fight, that was lackluster. A lot of people thought that he lost. I mean, what it's going to do is it's going to make him go back to the drawing board. It's going to make him refocus. He's going to look at his flaws and his faults. When you're having success and you're winning fight after fight, you start to believe your own hype, man. You stop working as hard as you usually do in the past. And now he's going to go back to his roots, I'm sure, especially in the biggest fight of his career Ramirez, on the other hand, he's solid. He's solid always around, man. He's a guy that comes to fight. He gives his best each time out. He's a volume puncher, pressure guy. He got a good technical skill as well. He can fight and he can box, but he likes to rumble. And on the flip side of that, you got Barboza that's got good technical skill. He's going to look to keep his distance. He's going to have to, because I don't think he can go punch for punch with Ramirez. So, great style matchup here, man. It's going to be about who's able to execute their game plan and use their style to win this fight. If I had to pick a winner, I would say the way these judges are judging now, I would say Ramirez. I would say Ramirez. He's going to apply that pressure. He's going to, dig down to the body of Barboza, and Barboza's going to, again, he's going to have to counter, and he's going to have to counter all night. So, but if I favor one guy, I think it's Ramirez. I think he takes this fight.
Well, let's talk about a little bit about the future for the winner. We talk about Teofimo Lopez being the guy right now at 140 pounds. But WBO president Gustavo Oliveira says he might have an eliminator with Jack Catterall for the winner. But the problem is, as you alluded to, champ, Ramirez is 32 years old. Not old, but not young. Either way, could time be running out. What do you think about for the winner, Chris? Is it right to Teofimo, or is it one more?
So I echo the sentiments of both the champs. This is a sneaky good fight. It's a really good
very
fight,
good.
and it does matter. But it's also a bit of a loser leaves town kind of situation, because Barboza's the kind of guy. I always think about Barboza. I'm thinking of like the cartoon of the kid hanging out the window trying to play with everybody inside, and he's not allowed in. He's not allowed in the circle of trust, like Paulie
So
always says.
boxing, right?
Yeah, he's always on the outside looking in. This is his opportunity to get in with a win over a guy like Ramirez. But it matters how they win, either one of them, whether it's Ramirez or it's Barboza. Because listen, loser leaves town, but if the winner puts up a dud, they're both out. I'm telling you right now.
This is why, you took me to that movie reference. I'm going to finish it here. But this is why in this fight, you got to spike those, fucker. You got to spike them. You need that kind of performance.
Right.
That's absolutely right in this fight.
It's not just a game, right?
No, it's not. It's not. Not in this case.
And Champ, I agree with you. I think in their primes, Ramirez takes this all day long. And I think he's close enough to his prime. He's definitely over the hill. He's not the best that he's ever been. But I still think he's good enough to get the victory here. But I think this is actually a good fight. And on top of everything that we talked about, why this is a good fight, you got two California Mexicans. There's a lot of bragging rights. These guys are going to fight.
Long Beach, California, again, I will say it.
I love this fight.
And on top of that, Barboza's been waiting for a title shot for over 10 years. We gotta account for that as well. The hunger that he has to fight for a world championship. When he was with Top Rank, he could never get that fight with Lopez. Teofimo Lopez would never fight him. I don't know why. I don't know why that fight never materialized. And then, there was always a conflict of interest because they had the same manager, and they still do have the same manager. But this fight could have happened a long time ago. But now these guys on the collision course, man, and may the best man win. Again, I think Ramirez, but man, Barboza can very well win this fight. He has the technical ability to outbox Ramirez.
Also, we have a fight in the lightweight division, which goes to show what could possibly go wrong. William Zepeda, 31-0, 27 knockouts, does have knockout ability. All he has to do before his February 22nd showdown with Shakur Stevenson is get past Tevin Farmer. What could possibly go wrong, Paulie? Has to happen, right?
Farmer,
it's just a warm-up fight, a little tune-up, nothing could happen, right?
Farmer is a spoiler in that regard, but I'll tell you, I feel like the intensity at which Zepeda fights at is probably enough to get him by in this fight. But the thing about Farmer is he's still got enough skills, enough know-how inside the ring to where we can see a little bit more deficiencies in Zepeda. I don't think Zepeda gets through this fight with flying colors. I think stylistically there are things that will bother Zepeda in this fight, but he's also got to get used to fighting these kind of uncomfortable athletic styles because pretty much the champions at this weight, especially the top two, which are Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson, they fight in athletic styles. Granted, Gervonta's more known for power, but he's a very, very athletic twitch type of boxer, and of course Shakur is a master boxer. So you're gonna have to probably not just get through this fight for the reason that you got to get through it, but also I think it's also a look into the future, a glimpse to where we're going to say, okay, maybe have to work on this, but he's able to do this. I think just on intensity alone, he's going to get slightly past his prime Farmer.
Yeah, so what do you think about that, Chris? A lot of people are saying that, Tevin Farmer's kind of a Shakur light, right? Kind of fights like him, but not quite as good. Is this the kind of tune-up you want to see? Or is any tune-up, when you have this fight coming, risky? What's your thought on it?
That's the idea, right? The idea is like this is like a Shakur-esque opponent. which is not true.
Southpaw, Gervonta and Shakur are both
Well,
southpaws. But
everybody's
other
southpaw
than
in this
that-
weight class. Other than that, they have nothing in common at all.
Yeah,
in terms
because I
of-
feel like Farmer gives you a lot of level changes. A bit
he's-
like Gervonta Davis. Shakur doesn't give you a lot of the level changes, right? He gives you
Yeah, but
distance changes.
Gervonta is so different because he has that game-changing power. Tevin doesn't have that. Tevin's like almost like a Pernell Whitaker type, where he's right in front of you. He gets real low, changes angles. He'll push you
Let me
off.
ask
He'll
you this.
spin you. He'll spin you. He'll grab you. Turn you.
Well, let me ask you this, and I want Tim's opinion on this too. So, in that regard, if you can deal with the discomfort of Farmer, are you going to be able to deal with any discomfort those guys have as far as boxing-wise? Even though it may be different, it's testing you mentally in the same way, where you got to get past a certain
tricky,
certain
difficult
confusing
guy.
situations.
But Shakur is not tricky. He's a master of range. It's different. It's not about being tricky. Like Tevin's tricky. Tevin will make you put you in uncomfortable positions and spaces and make you miss and look silly. Shakur is different, man. He is tactically, surgically controlling the distance and cutting you apart. It's a very, very different fight. I know that's the idea. Southpaw, slick guy, whatever. But I will say this about Zepeda. He's fought a bunch of these banana peel type guys, back to back to back, guys who are supposed to make you look bad and blows them out. Exactly. Runs right through them. Runs right through them
And even
and
Maxi
just makes
Hughes,
them look
right?
that much better. Maxi Hughes, another one. Tricky guy. All beat Kambosos,
Well, that's why
got the decision.
that's why we're high on
Ran right through him.
Zepeda as well.
So my question for now, I got a question for you guys too. We're doing questions game. I'm gonna ask questions too. Zepeda runs through Tevin, which is possible, very difficult to do. Does that change any outlook for the Shakur fight?
Tim, let me throw that to you, man. What do you think?
Does that change any outlook?
Yeah, if he blows
Not
Tevin
for
Farmer out of the
me.
water. Yeah.
No, well, not for me. When I look at Zepeda, his weakness is you got to put him on his back foot. That's his weakness. A lot of these guys, they sleep with the guys that bag up all the time. He cuts you off. He knows how to cut off the ring extremely well. He pushes a fast pace and he throws a ton of punches, a lot of volume. So he gives you a lot to worry about. But what I noticed is that he's not great in transition. From defense to offense. He's better when he's coming forward. So Farmer, on the other hand, he can come forward. He can come, but he's a small guy. I don't know if he's going to be strong enough for Zepeda. You got to be able to keep that guy off of you. You're going to have to move, but you also going to have to push him back and force him backwards. I don't know if Farmer has that, but I know Shakur has the ability to do that. Zepeda's not a one-punch guy. He's more of a cumulative type of puncher. So just like a Conceição type or a Valdez type of fighter, I think Shakur, when he's good and healthy, I think he'll be able to, be smart and be able to close the distance and be able to use his inside game. Shakur is extremely skillful on the inside, guys. He really is, but we haven't seen that of him as of late. But I'm telling you, he has it in his arsenal. He just have to put it all together against Zepeda that night. Box a little off his back foot, step inside the pocket, bang, 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 get back on the outside. You mix it up like that. Zepeda, you keep him off balance, he can be beat. He can definitely be beat. But again, it's going to be tough because, again, that volume, that pressure, and if you allow him to break you down to the body, because he's a tremendous body puncher, and I think that's going to be the secret to this fight. Go down the Farmer's body, you slow him down, you take those legs, and then later on in the fight, you can take him out.
Gentlemen, the consensus we have here, 3 outstanding fights, really worth watching for various reasons. So guess what? We have your Friday and Saturday mapped out. Friday, listen to these guys. Call Paul Tyson. That's right. Turn off the volume. Turn on ProBox TV. Check it out with these guys doing the watch along. That's Friday. And then Saturday, check out this great card from Saudi Arabia. And we'll break it all down for you post-fight Monday here on ProBox TV. Download the app now. Don't miss anything.
ProBox TV Contender Series. On December 7th, look for an all-out Irish war as Dylan the Real Deal Moran battles Tyrone the Mighty Kelt McKenna at the top of a stacked ProBox-worthy card.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.